Do you want me to talk about you, or you want to talk about yourself?
Well, you can talk about me.
Okay.
I like hearing people talking about me.
Okay. John Wright is a 1975 graduate of Heights High. During a more than 3-decade career as an award-winning journalist at KFDI Radio, John Wright's voice was chosen for audio used in the Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward movie, Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, as a tornado approached a Kansas City country club. John was also featured on a weather disaster series featuring coverage of the 91 Andover tornado on NBC television. John is multi-award recipient of the Edward R. Murrow Award for Broadcast Journalism. He is also an inductee of the Kansas Association of Broadcasters for his volunteer work in the Wichita community. Welcome, John Wright. You're welcome. We are going to dismiss inductees and their immediate family to eat. And before we do that, we're going to have a word of prayer over our evening. This is alumni Andy Titus, class of 1996.
Thank you all for being here. If you would bow with me as we pray. Father in heaven, we pray that we are grateful tonight to be here as alumni of this great school, celebrating what you have gifted people to do, what you have talented people to do, and God, what we can look to and say thank you for. God, we pray that you would be with us tonight as we fellowship and we celebrate. God, we pray you would bless this food to our bodies, and we pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Again, we'd like to welcome you all to the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame Black and Red ceremony. First, give yourselves a round of applause for being here for this second annual event. We are so pleased that you can make it, and I'm sure our donors are as well. Let me read those off. Dr. Eric Joseph, Dr. Doug McKay, class of 1970, Tobin Acevedo family, Tyler Brett, Mike Pelfrey, Sujan Jabara, Jason Jabara, Josh Shepis, Darren Musey, Don Rosenquist, Doug and Shayla Lunt, Gary and Sidney Walker, and Richard Walker. Let's give our sponsors a fond hand of applause. Thank you so much for sponsoring the program. And we also have other sponsors as well. Big Bites, Promo Depot, and Great Image Design. Well, we're here again. Does everybody look good tonight? It's Saturday night. I hear the football game went very well. Yeah, it beats the other way around several years back, right? And our program will follow order. Now, if you're one of the honorees, we'll try to keep it in order, but stay frosty. Things could change. And we'll have closing remarks from our principal and in the Heights class of 1992 as well. And we'll also introduce our committee. So without further ado, we will get started. First, Judge Julie Robinson. She's a 1974 graduate of Wichita Heights. The Honorable Judge Julie Robinson attended the University of Kansas, obtaining both her undergraduate degree and then her law degree in 1981. The former trial lawyer, law school instructor, and bankruptcy judge, Judge Robinson was appointed by President Bush in 2001 as a United States District Judge for the District of Kansas, the first African-American and the second woman appointed to that position in Kansas history. That deserves a round of applause. So for our first honoree, I understand she's not able to be here. Do we have any representative from her family? Want to check just to be sure. So let's give a round of applause for our first inductee to the 2022 class, the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Judge Julie Robinson.
I've been blessed to have a lot of wonderful mentors. My high school debate coach was a mentor, and he was really hard on us, and he really had high expectations. But that turned out to be a really good thing. You want people that are hard on you and have high expectations. In my early years, the most remarkable things that were going on was the civil rights movement in the United States. Although that was something that I was always aware of, my family talked about all the time, I decided at the age of 5 I wanted to be a lawyer. And it never occurred to me, at least in my younger years, that that would be, exceptionally difficult or different or unique for me as a black woman to be a lawyer. Because really, from the time I first started articulating that I wanted to be a lawyer, my father was very encouraging of me. And it was many years later before I came to understand how special that was, particularly when I met other women my age whose parents didn't even encourage them to go to college because that was something their sons were going to do, but their daughters just needed to get some work skills and then get married and have children. I didn't have that kind of discouragement from my family at all. From the very beginning, it was, you want to be a lawyer, you're going to be a lawyer. When I went on to law school, I had law school professors that, again, seemed to push me by setting the bar higher than I would have set for myself, perhaps. When I graduated from law school, my first position was as a law clerk for a federal bankruptcy judge. And he was someone that taught me so much about life and the practice of law and litigation, and again, set the bar really high for me. I'll never forget, it was a 2-year clerkship, and near the end of that 2-year clerkship, he said to me, "It's time for you to go." And I said, "What do you mean? Are you kicking me out?" And it's not quite time. He says, "No, I'm not kicking you out, but it is time for you to go. I've seen you grow a lot in the last couple of years. This is not the type of position that you would be happy doing for many years or for a career. It's time for you to get out there and be a lawyer and start lawyering." The process of becoming a district court judge is really difficult and unique. It's a presidential appointment. It's a lifetime appointment. With the advice and consent of the Senate, so you go through a Senate confirmation hearing, and it's oftentimes a very long, drawn-out process. And there was another point in the process that brought tears to my eyes. I had an interview at the White House by the White House counsel, and I had been to the White House as a kid on a tour, but I'd never been to the White House since. And so here I am, I go through the security at the gate, and I'm walking up that big circle drive, and I remember something my grandmother had told me. And my grandmother had long since passed away. But I remember her telling me how proud she was to read about Mary McLeod Bethune, who was a civil rights pioneer, being invited to the White House by Eleanor Roosevelt. And at least in my grandmother's thinking, an African-American woman had never been invited to the White House as a guest, and she was invited there to have tea with Eleanor Roosevelt. And how special that was, and how great that was, and how proud the African-American community was that Mary McLeod Bethune got invited to the White House. And as I was walking up that circle drive, all I could think of was my grandmother, and how I wish my grandmother could be going to that interview with me and holding my hand and walking up to the White House with me. Because I can tell you, when my grandmother told me that story, I never could have foreseen myself doing something like that. I mean, as I've said, you never can dream big enough sometimes. I think you can be overly confident and cocky as a kid, but yet you still never really know all that's in store for you. You just need to make sure that you are ready and positioned and able and willing to accept all that comes your way.
All right, moving on. A 1977 graduate, Darnell Valentine is a retired NBA basketball player. Her first-round selection by the Portland Trail Blazers. She played for 3 different teams in the NBA over 10 seasons. A 4-time All-Big 8 selection who wore number 14 jersey. That has been retired by the Kansas Jayhawks. Valentine was also a member of the 1980 U.S. Olympic team and a teammate on the Hall of Fame 1977 Heights team with future NBA player Antoine Carr. I'm sure you've heard of him. Valentine led the way for the 23-0 undefeated 5A state champions. Please welcome a 2022 inductee into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Darnell Valentine. Darnell. You want to say a few words? Now, don't let him fool you. Back when he was a freshman, I couldn't get 2 words out of him, taking him home and bringing him to practice every day. But anyway, there you go, Darnell.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. How's everybody doing? Hey, this is pretty good. When I was first invited here to participate, I had some reservations. I really did. I mean, it's the second year we've done this, right? And because in my mind, see, Kansas was always a place you're from. I'm just going to be real with you. And so this opportunity for me to come back, I'm going to have to kind of revise my mindset. This is wonderful. And I'm so honored to be here in your presence because as it was brought to my attention earlier today, this community poured into me to make me who I am, who I've become. And truly, if I can ask my other inductees just to be patient with me for a moment, because like I said, I came a long way, and I didn't come here for 4 minutes, okay? So you guys just go, and I didn't realize I was going early. At least you don't have 24 seconds. Okay, so truly for me to be here, it's really not about me. I want to honor my coach, Lafayette Norwood, who passed away 2020 in January. And as time has passed, his significance has been diminished. I mean, just what time does. And so I want to make sure in my audience today, we know who Norwood is. And so he was a surrogate father for me. And there was 3 things, and I got the young men in the back, 3 things that he just drilled into me as a young man. Because I'm from North Wichita over here, and didn't have a lot. And so there was kind of 3 things he drilled into me. One of the things that he drilled into me was his faith. He was a man of faith. He had I still get, I'm sorry, but I loved him so much. And he was a man of faith. He had a prayer list every day that he went through. He had a Bible that every page in that Bible had something on it. He was not a soundbite. He was not a soundbite. So you got people today that just sound bites. They don't, Sunday, they go through their emotions and they feel real excited. But he was real. And the thing that was most real about him is he knew with prayer, you had to work. So you can pray to be healthy, but if you're not doing anything to be healthy, don't waste your time praying. He knew that in order to be wealthy, you had to save and sacrifice. And if you weren't willing to save and sacrifice, stop praying about being wealthy. He put that together, and he drilled that into me. It was about what you profess and what you practice. Another thing, he said, Darnell, do you want to be happy? I said, Coach, of course I want to be happy. I want to be successful. He said, well, to be happy, are you willing to endure the pain to be happy? Because everything comes with a price. If you want a happy family, well, you're going to have some long conversations with your wife. You're going to have some very detailed conversations with her. If you want to be healthy, you're going to have to spend some painful moments in the gym to be healthy. You got to practice these things. And so in order to find happiness, it takes a price. And it's a struggle. Nothing's easy. He drilled that into me. The last thing that he really profoundly kind of brought it all together for me was the fact that he says, honey, basketball is like life. When you play a basketball game, every possession counts. You don't lose the game in the last minute. You don't lose the game in the last 2 minutes. Every possession counts. There's a sense of urgency. In that possession, how am I going to accomplish? What am I going to get the most out of that possession? And he likened that to the days of our life. Every day in our life is a possession. What are you doing with it? What are you doing with every possession? Because you don't get it back. And at the end of the day, if you look at how old you are now, when do you want to die? We're going to all die. So when do you want to die? What are your number? Whatever that number is, it's not a long time. Whatever that number that you come up with, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years, it's not a long time. So you got to embrace every day. Because if you don't embrace it before you know it, you're diminished. And so Coach, he brought that realness to me. And I live it every day. I'm very fortunate and blessed. But I practice who I am. I'm not ordinary, neither are you. But the key is if you're gonna be special, you gotta be special. You can't be like everybody else. Everybody, all you gotta do is look around and see what everybody else is doing and don't do it. Just look around and see what everybody else is doing and don't do it. But in order for you to be special, you gotta be special. And one of the things and the last thing, like I said, he was a man of faith and he was a man of rules. He followed every rule. We out in the middle of Kansas in the stoplight and we there early in the morning. Coach, let's go. Ain't nobody else here, Coach. No, I'm gonna wait till the light change. We can't move till the light change. But, dang, I lost my train of thought. I got to talking. But the one rule that he broke, when I was a young kid, and nobody knew anything about Kansas basketball, who Kansas was, or anything such as that, he paid for me to go back as a junior to one of the national basketball camps in America. All the big names, everybody. And he broke every rule in Kansas basketball. I said, Coach, you shouldn't have done that. But he broke every rule. And after that week, I was a first team high school All-American. First one ever in Kansas. And at that time, there was, if this was a field of dreams, Coach Norwood would be Kevin Costner. Because we opened up an expressway of college recruits to come here. It's like mythical. I mean, every game we had, every college basketball coach in America here in Wichita, Kansas. I mean, we had more exposure. And then they found Antoine, who I played with, Aubrey Sherrod, and they from here. And the Ellises. Perry, it wasn't until 40 years later that there was another All-American after Aubrey Sherrod. But I was the first one. And that was because Coach Norwood, he allowed me that exposure, that opportunity. It's important for us to give back, right? But in order to give back, we got to model what we're given. I'm looking around and I'm looking at this world today and the culture, the people all sideways. Well, what kind of reflection is that on our kids? What kind of world are they going to be having to manage and walk into? We got to do what we need to do to model what we need to do right. And so with that, Kansas is not a place you're from anymore. It's a place you come back.
Thank you, Darnell. Give him one more round of applause. And Darnell's not just up here blowing smoke. I'm gonna tell it. I was at a movie theater, not knowing who was gonna be there, whatever. I turn around and hear a commotion. It's Darnell and about 20 kids. Took him to the show. The man lives what he preaches. Thank you very much, brother. All right. Our next awardee, a 1990 graduate, Darren Dreifert, was drafted out of high school by the New York Mets, but chose instead to play baseball down the street at Wichita State University. And as a college player, Dreifert was a two-time consensus All-American and Golden Spikes 1993 NCAA Player of the Year, and after a 10-year Major League season, Darren was inducted into the College Baseball Hall of Fame as well as the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. Now, Darren's unable to be here. However, his dad, John, will accept, so please welcome Darren Dryford into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame.
Darren sends his regrets that he's not able to be here tonight. He's recovering from yet one more surgery. He's had too many of them ever since he retired. But he sends his best wishes and congratulations to all the other inductees. I'm sure he really wanted to be here because Heights High School has a lot of fond memories for him. It prepared him for college. It prepared him for a professional career. But I think if you asked him what were the best times of his life, probably high school right here at Heights High School. He had really great teachers, great coaches, great friends. His longtime buddy, Tobin Acevedo, was right here. Glad to see you again, Tobin. I'm sure he'd be glad to see you too. We thought that Heights High School at the time was really one of the great places to be in Wichita High School because it was a small school. It was the smallest of the high schools back then. And we thought that very little went on that we didn't hear about. But we're finding more and more as the years go on, there are a lot of things that went on we didn't hear about. Tobin reminded me that he and Darren were the finalists in the Mr. Falcon Award or competition twice in their high school career here. My wife and I remember that very well as they paraded out here in this gym, as a matter of fact, strutting their stuff to become Mr. Falcon. Sorry, Tobin, you lost. He won, but that's all right. But those were great years, and the school, I think, prepared him for life, and I'm sure he would thank you again for not only the award and the congratulations, but for all the things that the school did for him for a lifetime. So thank you very much.
Congratulations. And we're going to stick with the baseball theme here. Our next inductee is a 2002 graduate. Mike Pelfrey was a two-time first-team All-City and All-State player while here at Wichita Heights. He also chose to attend college at Wichita State University, where he was a three-time member of the Missouri Valley first team, including the 03 Pitcher of the Year. Mike was a first-round pick at that year of 2005 draft and enjoyed 12 years of Major League Baseball. Please welcome the 2022 inductee into the Wichita Heights Hall of Fame, Mike Pelfrey. Mike.
Unlike Mr. Valentine, I drove 5 minutes from Wichita State baseball practice, so I will keep it to 4 minutes. Okay. I'd like to start by thanking the people at the Wichita Heights Hall of Fame committee and all the people that put this event together. I'm extremely honored and humbled to be here accepting this award. I've been blessed. You know, I was given a gift from the man upstairs. You know, with this gift, I strive to never take it for granted, never be complacent. I'm a firm believer that you get out of it what you put into it, and there is no substitute for hard work. You know, I couldn't have achieved anything without the support and guidance of a lot of good teammates and a lot of good coaches. I'd like to thank my coaches at Heights High School, Mr. Joe Auer, Matt Klusner, Jeff Topping, who I saw here earlier, and Ben Harlow. I'd also like to give a shout out to Josh Shepis for teaching me that baby hook and for basketball, the basketball team. I would also like to thank my parents. They always pushed me in the right direction. My mom was my toughest critic. I had some tough car ride homes after sporting events, after baseball games. And then when my mom couldn't make it to games anymore, as I started to travel a little bit more, I usually had a voicemail waiting for me after each game. And you believe me, there was a lot of choice words in those voicemails. You know, until one day I finally, got up enough courage to ask her to stop. And that happened I was 28 years old, and it was my 7th year in the big leagues. So Mom, I appreciate you. Thanks for never letting me settle for settling. And lastly, I want to congratulate all the other inductees. But I want to give a special shout out to Joe Auer. Joe was like a second father to me in high school. He always kept me moving in the right direction. He's been a great friend ever since then. I know if I ever reached out or ever need anything for you there, I know you'd be there, and it's the same thing on my end. So I appreciate that. And like I mentioned earlier, now I coach at Wichita State, and my hope is this, that I can have the same impact that Mr. Auer and some of you other coaches had on me, and I can make those individuals not only better players, but better men. So thanks to everyone for coming. Congratulations to the other inductees.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. Congratulations. All right, Mike. And for Darren, too. When I was covering baseball at Wichita State, you could never ask for better athletes representation for the city of Wichita in front of a tough media following a tough game. Those two gentlemen conducted themselves in an outstanding fashion. All right. Now, 1968 had a lot of things going on. It was wrestling here, the boys state championship wrestling team that was coached by Hall of Famer D. Guard, state qualifying team members Wardell Bell, William Billy Jabara, Bob Ledbetter, Bob Lunt, and the All-American Doug Lunt led the 68 Heights team high school boys wrestling team to the first championship in the school's history. There were many others to come. Other members on that varsity team included Ron Edgy, Eddie Howland, Pat Clark, Ken Robbins, Daryl Anderson, Floyd Best, and Gary Murdoch. And I think most of them are here. So gentlemen, please step forward and give a round of loud applause to the 2022 inductees, the Wichita Heights 1968 state champion wrestling team. Come on up, fellas. You want me to bring that up, Coach? No, we won't bring that up. Okay, so Coach is going to make the presentations to the wrestling team here. And Coach, you can go ahead and call their names and hand them their awards. Do we have the pictures? Okay, photographers, get ready.
Last year they made them, if you dropped them, they broke. And that's what I did.
That's not the reason we're down here, but it does help.
Okay, Eddie Howland. Wardell Bell. Bob Lunt. Floyd Best. Doug Lunt.
You got one more to go.
Billy Jabbar, Billy's wife.
Which one? Who's going to? Floyd, come on.
All right, we just like to thank the committee for nominating us and inducting us to this Hall of Fame. It's a great honor to everyone. Unfortunately, we have 3 members that cannot be here. Gary Murdoch, Ken Robbins, and Bill Jabbar. They are deceased, and we wish them well wherever their ventures take them with the Lord above. And thank you, everyone, for this induction. And we're all proud, and we're glad to be a Heights Falcon. Thank you very much.
All right, photographers, line up and get those pictures. We got them all together. Let's go. Anybody else wants to get in the shot, go ahead. Come on up. As Darnell said, they may have come a long way. It may be 5 minutes, but we're here, so let's do this. A full Nelson, come on, we don't want that. All right, thank you very much. Give them one more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
A 2012 graduate, Perry Ellis needs no introduction, so I won't. No, really. During his 4 years at Wichita Heights, the Heights High School boys basketball team was a four-time 6A state champion. I want you to pay attention to the number 4. Perry is a four-time Kansas Gatorade Player of the Year, a McDonald's All-American, and a member of the Acacia Hall of Fame. He is the all-time leading scorer and rebounder in school history. This after a stellar 4-year career at the University of Kansas. He is currently playing professionally overseas. Perry also maintained a 4.0 grade point average in all 4 years of high school. Let's welcome a 2022 inductee into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Perry Ellis.
This is definitely an honor to be entering the Wichita Heights Hall of Fame. I remember so many great memories from Heights. My time at Heights helped shape me who I am today. I learned the importance of believing in myself and pushing myself. Coach I really helped me with that, so I want to thank him for that. There's been so many great people, so many great players with my time at Heights. I want to thank everyone who has impacted my life. Sorry I couldn't make it, but I have some very special people accepting the award from me today. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for everything you do. Couldn't ask for better parents. I hope everybody's doing well.
Now a classroom teacher for 34 years, Joe Auer is synonymous with Wichita Heights, taking over as the head baseball coach in 91 until 1997 and coaching the boys varsity basketball team since 1996. Coach Auer has amassed over 700 wins as head coach at Heights, the most in City League history. He ranks first all-time in the City League wins as head basketball coach and second in all-time wins as a baseball coach. He has been named the State Coach of the Year in Kansas 8 times, and in 2012, he was named one of 5 finalists for the Naismith National High School Basketball Coach of the Year. Auer led Heights baseball teams to 9 City League titles and 10 state tournaments from 1991 to 2007, including state runner-up in 1998 and 2001. He has led the basketball team to 7 City League titles and 13 state championships, which ranks 4th all-time in Kansas boys high school basketball history. From 2010 to 2012, Heights amassed a state record 62 consecutive wins. In 2011, his team had a perfect 25-0 record and the highest final season national ranking in Kansas history at number 5 in the USA Today 2011 final poll. He is the 2021 inductee to the Wichita Sports Hall of Fame and is the current coach of the defending Class 6A state champions. Let's please welcome a 2022 inductee into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Coach Joe Auer.
My speech is probably a little bit more along the lines of Darnell's, but I'm not known for short speeches, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. All championship teams have great players, but great players don't always win championships. And we've had a lot of great players here over the years, and we've got some great teams over the years. We got some great players here tonight. Some of our 2022 guys are here right now. Appreciate you guys being here tonight. And if you get a chance, get out and watch these guys play this year. Should be something special. First, I'd like to congratulate, congratulations. I mean, most importantly, the young men that are here tonight. Marcus Ziegler, TJ Williams, Chase Robinson. They're going to try to go back-to-back this year. Congrats to all the inductees. For me personally, it's very special to go in with Darren. Excuse me. A lot of memories tonight. Mike and Perry. Three very special relationships that I had with young men at very different times in my life. Darren Driver, one of the first kids I ever met. I was probably, felt like I was about 17. I think I was 22 at the time, but his family, the Dreyfords, were very nice. Kay and I, when we first moved here, I've been very blessed. We've challenged our players to do two things every season. I'll just give you the initials of one thing since we're not in the locker room. So GTA, a lot of our guys know what that means, and leave it better than you found it. Been very blessed to be part of something much bigger than ourselves here at Heights. There's some names I've got to mention. I want to thank my wife, Kay, our sons, David and Nick. When you're a teacher and a coach, you gotta, you gotta share your husband, your dad with all these other kids, and thank you, Kay. I want to thank my principals and athletic directors, Martin Smith, Steve Shook, Mark Hott, Rick Wheeler, Mr. Mike Church, Mark Christian, Bruce Dieterding, my former student, now boss, Eric Flippy, and some assistant coaches over the years, Delvin McGilbray, who I know many of you know, the McGilbrays, Brian Chadwick, Matt Klusner, Jeff Topping, who's like a son to me, Gary Thomason, also guys they gave their heart and soul for our kids. I came to Wichita in 1988. I didn't know one person in the state of Kansas. I came here for 1 year. I needed a job. I was going to marry this beautiful girl in a year. I needed to make a little money. We were going to go back, and here it's hard to believe. Here we are 34 years later. Heights has given me the opportunity to wear two professional hats on a daily basis. As a teacher, most importantly, and as a coach. For me, it was always a priority to give 100% to my students every day, and then switch hats at about 3 o'clock and give 100% to my players. I've been so blessed by this school with incredible opportunities, and more importantly, with incredible students and incredible players. And I guess what I'll leave you with is, here, I haven't heard anybody mention Hollywood Heights. I didn't know anything about Hollywood until I got here, and we're trying to bring Hollywood back. I talked to the 77 guy who told me tonight, pressure burst pipes, right? Pressure burst pipes. So I'll leave you with this, something we say in our locker room before every game. Yesterday, we're so proud. We're so proud to be Falcons. Tomorrow, we're going to get better. But today, what are we going to do? Today, we're going to win. Whatever we got to do to win, we're going to do, and we'll get better tomorrow. Thank you so much. Go Falcons.
Thanks, Coach. Our next inductee, a 1982 graduate, Jill Rito Joseph, was a 3-time state and track and field champion in the 100 high hurdles, 200 lows, and the 400-meter relay. I didn't know you ran that fast, girl. She was the first female athlete at Heights to be recognized as an All-American. She still currently holds the school records in track and field for the 100-meter dash set in 1980, the 100-meter hurdles in 82, 200-meter dash in 1980, and also the relay, the 400-meter relay in 82 that was set. Please welcome a 2022 inductee into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Jill Rito Joseph. Jill.
Good evening. Giving joy and honor to God. Thank you. It's a blessing to be here. First, I'd like to say thank you to the committee for nominating me, and congratulations to all the other honorees. I am so thankful to be here. I also like to thank my wonderful husband. I got a little story to tell you about how we met. I won the state championship here, Class 6A in 1980. 10th grade, then went on to the summer AAU Junior Olympics and won that national championship out in San Jose, California. Dr. Eric Joseph, would you stand, please? He was there at that track meet. Actually met him, but we never stayed in contact, and then later on through life, we met each other and got married, and now we've been married now 17 years. So you never know where sports will take you and who you may meet. Also, I like for my family to stand and my friends, just my entire table, please stand. I want to thank them. I appreciate all of your words of encouragement and all of your prayers throughout all the years. And just thank you again for being here, for your love and support. I also want to thank my parents. They raised 8 kids, 6 girls and 2 boys. They did an excellent job. I was number 6 out of 8. And all of us were in athletics and did pretty well and went on to college on athletic scholarships. My father sat us down one day and said, hey, you got 2 ways to make it to the university that you'd like to go to, academic or athletics. Pick your choice because we're not paying for any of it. But if you're going to stay in this household, you will earn a degree, or you had to leave. So we all went and got our degrees, so we thought that was a better deal. Also, what I'd like to tell you about what I'm doing today. I'm a speech-language pathologist. I enjoy working with seniors as well as high school students. One of the things I do is, this is a part of me giving back to the community. And it's something I believe really in my heart and soul. It is important that we all give back to our communities no matter where we are. And I call it amplifying humanity. What are we all doing here to amplify humanity? So that's something I like to leave you guys with. The next person I'd like for you to meet is Bill Breyer. He's right here in the back. Could you please stand? He was so instrumental in my track and field career. He, along with Ken Sherman, who's passed away now, who was the head coach, he was the assistant, Bill Breyer. But he also knew my mother, and she was an educator for like over 40 years with the Wichita Public Schools. So in junior high school, he saw me run. He was with us. He was coaching. He went to my mother. Her name was Lodine, Lodine Rito. And he said, I think your daughter is pretty good, but we really don't know how good she is. And I'd like to take her to Dayton, Ohio to Welcome Stadium. Well, that gave me an opportunity to run against, pretty much everyone in the nation. I survived, and I also won that track meet in the 100-meter hurdles. So we drove all the way to Dayton, Ohio, and it really kind of took off from there. Also, I want to take it back a little further from elementary school. I had Henry Jackson. Henry Jackson, he's deceased now, but he has 2 sons, Hanky and Greg Jackson. He started the Mid-America Track and Field Club. And I started there along with Barry Sanders. He just would get all of the kids in the neighborhoods and take us all over Kansas to do outstandingly well in our track and field. So I really appreciate him, and I appreciate his family for what they did, because they sacrificed their dad. It's time, because, John, you're doing that right now. John Wright, he's currently doing that, taking kids around to different AAU track and field meets. But I really greatly appreciate that as well. All of my classmates, I have a few classmates that are here. Can you please stand? Thank you. We have the prom queen over there, Richard Walker. He was one of our sponsors. We just was in Wichita 2 weeks ago celebrating our 40th year high school reunion. So that was just an outstanding time, and I just appreciate that. And my two girlfriends, once more, Kim and Stacy, have to have you stand because you guys have been with me for 44 years, since ninth grade. In my wedding, came to my bedside, after I had a little surgery. And just, they've just been the best friends. So just know that when you're in high school, I see some students over there that are on the basketball team. Some of these friendships will be your friendships for life. I went on to school at Ohio State, graduated from there and Howard University. But look who's my best friends. Two people from Wichita Heights High School. Fantastic. Jerry Saunders, where are you? Could you please stand? Jerry Sanders was instrumental in my life as well. He, dear friend from when I was at school at Ohio State University, and he's always, and his wife Gail has been very, very supportive of me throughout my adult life. Again, I just like to thank everyone who's here to attend on my behalf. I greatly appreciate you. And again, let me tell you one other little thing that I'm doing. I'm now First Lady of Multnomah University. My husband is president at Multnomah University in Portland, Oregon. So that I have a different role, but I know what it's like to have a coach. Now, he's not a coach, but I know what it's like to share your husband with several students and faculty and the time that they have to put into their positions to make their schools excellent. So again, thank you, Eric. I greatly appreciate and love you dearly. And we just are, we're a good couple in that we love each other, but we also push each other to greater heights. And you can't ask for a better partner to be with. Again, thank you, Wichita Heights High School, faculty, and staff, and the nominating committee. I really appreciate this award. Thanks again.
Well, she didn't drop the baton anyway, so there you go. All right, our next inductee. In 1961, Charles Lawson, when Wichita Heights High School first opened the door, he was its first band director, building the entire instrumental music program. His responsibilities at the new school included ordering and putting together a large music library. The school owned musical instruments and ordering marching uniforms. Mr. Lawson regularly brought in many big-name clinician soloists, including trumpeter Buddy Brisbois, I think I said that right, and the great Doc Severinsen from the Johnny Carson Show. In 1968, the Heights Band marched in the Rose Bowl parade, and in 1969, the marching band was the only Kansas band invited to march in the presidential inauguration parade in Washington, D.C. Please welcome a 2022 inductee into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Charles Lawson.
I'm not Charles. I'm his son, Chris. And we were, he was a trumpet player and inspired me to go on to be a professional trumpet player for the last over 50 years. Very proud of that. Impossible to compete with the likes of the nominees that we've had, but thank you so much for inducting my father for his really wonderful successes, largely due to my mother, which was a subtle but very powerful force behind his successes, as well as Wayne Holmstrom, who is also being inducted tonight to build this whole music program. I won't I got a story that I just have to tell you that almost nobody knows. My dear old dad left high school before he graduated to go win World War II all by himself over in Europe. Ended up storming the beach of Normandy on what he used to call D-Day +6, and he ended up 3 or 4 months later wounded, and that was his ticket home after a hospitalization, requisite hospitalization, of course, and care that he needed. He went back to Plains, Kansas, and they let him finish high school, of course. But they also needed a band director, so they had him direct the band, and that was what inspired him to become a music educator. I think that's really cool. Anyway, he chose the closest school that he could, which was Bethany College in Lindsborg, and that's where he met his wife, also met and became very close friends with Wayne Holmstrom, who was the vocal teacher that also helped, was very much a part of building the music program, very successful music program here in Heights. And Wayne had the Holmstroms and the Lawsons had such close parallels. They both met both Wayne and my dad met their wives there and married them there. Had 3 kids. I was born in Lindsborg myself, and they were both obviously invited to come here to build the program here at Heights starting in '61. So again, thank you so much for honoring my father and Wayne in this Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Congratulations. Our next inductee, dedicated science teacher William Bill Judd, was a fixture at Wichita Heights for over 30 years. Now, whether in the classroom teaching chemistry or aeronautics or at the scorers table keeping stats for a variety of Heights athletics teams, Mr. Judd was a tough but fair educator. Now, over the years, his memorable quotes, dry sense of humor, and intellectual prowess became almost legendary within the halls of Heights High School. Now, accepting for Mr. Judd is Sarah Judd will accept, so welcome him as an inductee into the Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame.
I really hadn't prepared anything to say. It's been a tough couple of years since my dad died. It's nice to finally have something worth celebrating about. And it's nice to see smiling, happy faces. And have a good day.
Our next inductee will be the 1996 graduate of Wichita Heights, Chanel Jones OJ. She attended Northwestern University. After graduating high school, Jones' first broadcast job was in Springfield, Illinois for WICS. And before going to work for NBC News, Jones worked in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and also in Philadelphia. Now, she was at the Philadelphia station for more than 9 years before she joined the Today Show in 2014. She is currently the co-host of the third hour of Today on the weekdays, and she has her own Sirius XM radio show that airs on Tuesdays, and she hosts a family show on Saturday mornings called
Wild Child. You got to hear about that one. Please welcome the 2022 class, Wichita Heights High School Hall of Fame, Chanel Jones, OJ.
Good evening. I'm so used to saying good morning, so if I can say good evening, it's excited. I feel like it's exciting. Good evening. How are you guys? So I didn't prepare anything, but I was just sitting in that seat and I found myself being emotional over and over and over again. First of all, there are a lot of people, hundreds if not thousands of people who go through these halls and who have graduated from Heights since Heights opened, right? So to be in the second class among 10 other amazing people is such a gift. And I don't take this for granted. And I'm so happy to be here this evening. There's no place I would rather be. Everybody in New York, they were joking with me, are you gonna click your heels? I'm like, yes, I would click my heels as soon as I can and get back home. The beautiful part about being at the Today Show now is, if you've ever watched me on the Today Show, millions of people know that I am from Wichita, Kansas, specifically Heights High School. I talk about Wichita and Heights every single chance I get, to the point where, as a lot of you know, I've had the chance to bring the cameras here to the school. I've had a chance to thank some of my former teachers and Janie Ballou and Mr. Christian and all of the people, as Darnell said, who poured into me over the years. We are so lucky to be in a community like this one. You just mentioned all of the cities that I've lived in. I've worked in Topeka, Kansas, Springfield, Illinois, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Philly. I've lived in a lot of cities over the last 20 years or so. And there is no place like home. I have volunteered in high schools. I volunteered in high schools all over this country. I remember I went to Northwestern and I volunteered in high schools in Chicago. And I remember going into some of those high schools and I was like, oh, we are spoiled. Heights High School was amazing. You know, I see kids now and I'm like, oh, you don't understand. Homecoming, do you guys have bonfires? You don't have Mr. Myers swirling a spirit stick? Wait, what? You know, we just had so much love and affirmation here. I think about, you know, I was on student council, I was student council president, I was in peer leadership, and now as an adult, if I have a conflict, well, I learned peer leadership right here and conflict management right here at Heights, or even down to the fun things like homecoming, and we would decorate the halls. And even, you know, the contest we would have for homecoming, dressing up, and we were Milli Vanilli one year. I mean, all sorts of random things. And I think about now being at the Today Show. The Today Show Halloween is like an epic show. I mean, Today Show and GMA, Good Morning America, I mean, we compete like hardcore every year. And I remember the first year I made the cut to be in the Today Show Halloween show. I was Tina Turner. And I just did what we would do at Heights. Like when we would do our homecoming, you know, you put on a wig and kick around, and people were amazed. And I thought, and it's so funny because I heard from so many of my girlfriends from Heights, like, oh, that's what we did for homecoming. It's just what we did here. But naturally, people thought it was something, right? All the way down to being Janet Jackson or whatever I was doing. They were the kinds of things that we did at halftime or with the cheerleading squad. All of those things happened for me, or I learned right here at Heights High School. So to bring this all to a close, I just wanted to say thank you to all of the people who nominated me. A lot of you guys are my classmates that I still follow you guys. And then I saw Mr. Judd's daughter. Where are you? There you are. You touched my heart. Do you know why? I think of all of the teachers I had ever, I think Mr. Judd was the toughest. That class was the toughest class you could ever take. And if you could get an A out of Mr. Judd, then you know that you did something well. So God bless your father. And I remember I gave the graduation speech in 1996. I had 1B, thanks Mrs. Moore, so I was salutatorian. And I'd gotten into Northwestern already. And do you know where I was the day after graduation from Heights? I mean, we threw up our caps, all the things. Back here in Mr. Judd's class, because I wasn't quite finished with my work. And he had that much, you know, I had that much respect for him that even though I technically probably didn't have to because I was already in at Northwestern, I still felt like I had to go back to his class and finish up that paperwork first. That was the kind of guy your father was. He was that great. Like, he cared about me. He's like, no, I know you want to get this done. Come on back in after graduation and get that done. So God bless you. But a full circle moment for me to see each and every one of you. And then Andy gave the prayer up here. We were in middle school together, if not elementary school. And he always had such a kind temperament, Andy Titus. And then when she said he was praying and he's a reverend now, I was like, oh, Andy's a minister. Of course he's a minister, because he was always so wonderful. And then I met Aaron Seeger's mom here. I went to Brooks with Aaron Seeger. I was in the little smart kid group. Aaron Seeger was like the smartest kid on the planet. And I said, how's Aaron now? She's like, oh, he's retired. Of course he's retired, because he's successful and amazing. So, and all of that happened right here in Wichita Public Schools. So this is such a gift. Thank you all for having me here. And just know when you go home tonight that we are sure lucky. God put us in a special community with some special folks. Thank you.
Congratulations. All right, thanks, Chanel, very much. I don't want to do a Steve Harvey up in here, you know what I'm saying? And forget somebody off the program. All right, last but not least, Wayne Holstrom began his career at Wichita Heights High School in 1962 as a vocal music director until 1978. He was responsible, as you heard before the program, in writing the lyrics and music for the Heights alma mater and the school's fight song. He built the vocal music department into a widely respected program that consistently earned 1 ratings at the city and state music festivals. In 1977, the musical Scrooge was presented in December. It was even broadcast on Cake TV on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. But most of all, Wayne loved being a teacher and helping his students be the best they could be. He always said that a choir is made up of choral singers, not soloists, and appreciated each student for their individual abilities and talents. Now, please welcome Don to accept the 2022 Heights High School Hall of Fame Award for Wayne Holstrom. Don.
Thank you. I'm Dawn. I'm Wayne's youngest. I graduated in 1979, and I'm here with my sister Shayla, who graduated in 1969. And our sister Signe wishes she could have been here. She was class of 74, but she's away on another event, but she's going to hear all about this evening. First of all, we would like to say thank you so much for this honor. I know Dad is smiling, and he knows this is a really special night. He would just be so touched to be here. Dad loved being a Heights Falcon, and he was so proud to be a part of the school. He loved making music, and one of the things he always told us, and all 3 of us girls sang in his choir, and how special is that, to be able to ride with your dad in the mornings. Then we had to get up a little early, right? But we got to ride to school with our dad and ride home with our dad, and we got to sing in his choirs. We had to behave, because when you sang in your dad's choir in his class, you had to behave like everybody else, right? But he always told us, anybody can sing notes, but we're going to make the music happen. And that's what we did. We made the music happen, and we were always proud when we walked off the stage after a concert, and have lots and lots of happy memories of that. So just thank you for that. We want to thank the committee for putting this on. It's just been a tremendous experience to be able to be a part of this. So thank you. I know a lot of effort went into the planning. Outside of the music room, my dad loved Heights sports. And he took tickets at the basketball games, and Darnell and Calvin, I was there in 1977 in Kansas City when you won the state championship, and that was just such a fun event. And he took tickets at the football games and loved being a part of that. And I'll never forget, as a little girl, thinking at the end of the evening when Dad had the money, collected all the money from the tickets, a policeman followed us when Dad took it to the bank. And I finally asked my mother, why is a policeman following Daddy? Do they think he's gonna steal the money or what, you know? So, and then he loved to MC wrestling matches. And Coach Guard, He loved being at all the wrestling matches and seeing the wrestling team. And there's one special person that he really enjoyed watching, and that was Doug Lunt, who became his future son-in-law. So that's a special moment from memories. But anyway, anything else you want to say? Just thank you so much. We are so proud to be a part of this evening, and thank you to all the people that made this happen, and for all the inductees. Congratulations.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, ladies, very much. All right, I believe we have completed our roster of inductees. Correct? All right, I'm getting a nod from Darren. Before we leave, some housekeeping. First, let's give a round of applause to our catering crew for tonight's dinner. It's fantastic. And we didn't even have to go to Kansas City to get Gates Barbecue or go to Oklahoma Joe's to get any good barbecue. We got some right here at Wichita Heights. So thank you for all your hard work there. And we also want to, again, let's give a round of applause to our inductees. Donnell Valentine, hold your applause. Honorable Julie Robinson, Darren Dryford, Mike Pelfrey, the 1968 wrestling team, Perry Ellis, Charles Lawson, Wayne Holstrom, Jill Rito Joseph, Joe Auer, William Judd, and Chanel Jones OJ. One round of applause for everybody. And before we get away, let's also give a round of applause to the Hall of Fame committee members. Kayla Titus as president, Josh Shepard, vice president, Darren Musey nominations, Jason Jabara treasurer, Jeff Topping, staff liaison, and we'll hear from Principal Eric Filippi and Mike Church, the athletic director. Give them a round of applause, please. And again, our sponsors, Dr. Eric Joseph, Doug McKay, the class of 1970, Tobin Acevedo family, Tyler Brett, Mike Pelfrey, Susan Jabara, Jason Jabara, Josh Shepard, Darren Musey, Don Rosenquist, Doug and Sailor Lunt, Gary and Signey Walker, and Richard Walker. Now, we will have closing remarks from our Hall of Fame committee, Principal Eric Filippi and Mike Church. Okay, he's got you. Okay.
I just found out I was talking. Flippy told me to come up. So first of all, I just want to thank you all for being here. This is an awesome event. I'm glad to meet the new people that I've met tonight. I just want to share something with you, and it's a little bit personal, but also it's a message for you guys. So on February 1st of this year, I was working a basketball tournament here, and 24 hours later, I was diagnosed with glioblastoma cancer. I was told I had 6 months to 18 months to live. Right at that moment, I kind of was shook for a little bit, but then I decided to change my perspective. The first thing I did is I sought out my God. I sought him out. I said, God, you're the only one strong enough to do this. I'm not. I'm just a mere human. God, you are strong enough to beat a disease that's supposed to beat me in 18 months or less. And right now, I'm on month 8, and I got back 2 months ago, and there was no cancer on my brain. Where I'm going with this is I developed this motto. It was win the day. And it was from the Bible verse, Matthew 6:34. It says, don't worry about tomorrow, for today is enough. Don't worry about tomorrow, for today is enough. And what I've learned is yesterday is gone. Today, I'm going to be present. And tomorrow, I don't have to worry about it because I don't know if I'm going to wake up tomorrow. And I'm the most blessed I've ever been because I have the clarity of I might not wake up tomorrow. But also, I plan on living with the strength of my God for 30 or 40 more years. So that's what I wanted to go with today. Be present in this moment right now. Don't be thinking about what you did yesterday. Don't be thinking what you might do tomorrow. Be present right now. Enjoy this moment, but then take all the awards that you were given because your talent was given by God. Your talent was 100%. Everything you have done would not be done unless God allowed you to do it. And so what I want you to do is take the awards that you got tonight, take the blessings you got tonight, take the applause you got tonight, and you spread that exact same love in our community. You lift up somebody else besides yourself. It's not about you always. It's not about me always. It's about our God and lifting up our God and making our God the one we are glorifying. If you're doing this to be glorified for yourself, you're in it for the wrong reason. You should be glorifying something way bigger than us. And I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to stand up here in front of you. And I'm just blessed by you guys. And just have a great night. And again, win the day, okay? Win today. Win this moment right now. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. That's a tough act to follow. That's tough. But now we want to introduce Jason Jabara, who has some special awards to present for this evening. Jason.
Thank you very much. Let's give it up for our MC, Mr. John Wright, doing this for us again. Thank you, John. We're already over time, and now that they gave me a mic, I am long-winded, so we will try and get you out of here quickly as I can. But we do want to recognize some people. John went over them, but if you could please stand and also come up. To give you a little bit of background, some of you were here last year. This is only our second year doing this event. And it came with an idea from Mr. Filippi, who I've known for 35 years probably. And it is a very small committee. And it got smaller this year. We actually lost a couple of people from last year. So to give you an idea of where we are at, last year we inducted, I believe, 7 members into the original Hall of Fame class, and we had about 60 people that were here at this banquet last year, and many of you were here last year. This year, we've inducted 12 more worthy candidates into the Hall of Fame, and we have 120 people here with us tonight. So we've doubled in size in just 1 year with work. And we know that, the list of people that are worthy to get into the Wichita Heights Hall of Fame is long and is distinguished, and we will get there. You will just have to give us time. We have a website. It'll open back up again at the beginning of this year to start taking nominations again. And every nomination that is put in, we had kids that graduated last year that were nominating kids that they graduated with for the Hall of Fame. So there is a process. We are fine-tuning it. It will always be improved, and we hope to improve it again next year. And the only way that we can do it is to get support. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from you, but we do need you to help spread the word. We have an Instagram page, we have a Twitter page, we have a Facebook page, we have a Facebook group. We're starting to build an email and a phone list. Those aren't things that we have. Heights is the very last school in the City League to have a Hall of Fame, so we've got some catching up to do, but we'll get there. So I do want to recognize that if these people would just stand. We started this year with some packages that had some added benefits to it, seating and photos and shirts and things like this. So we had some bronze sponsors, Susan Jabara, Josh Shepis, Darren Mucci at the back, Don Rosenquist, Doug and Shayla Lunt, Gary and Signey Walker, and Richard Walker. If you guys would just stand, please, to be recognized. These were our bronze sponsors this year. And then if I can have these next group just come up here, you can come up as a group. Our silver sponsors, Mr. Mike Pelfrey and Tyler Brait. Tyler's not here with us today. He is on the staff at Kansas State University. So he was a little busy beating Iowa State today, and then tomorrow morning he's got to go to a clinic. So did Mike already leave? Mike, if you want to come up. And then our gold package people, Tobin Acevedo, and then the class of 1970. And this is the class of 1970, second year in a row sponsoring this Hall of Fame ceremony. So if somebody from the class of 1970, Naomi, if you want to come up. Where's Naomi at? Oh, she doesn't want to come up. She'll send somebody up at her place. And then our platinum package sponsors, Dr. Eric Joseph and Mr. Doug McKay. And just to tell you a little bit about our platinum sponsors real quick, this was something new. I think it was Josh's. If you guys can all stand, because we'll get one group picture with you guys. One group picture. To to give you a little background, this is something I think it was Josh's idea on the committee, or I don't know whose idea it was, but it was a good idea because it helped out a lot. When we first put this out there on the website and posted it on the Facebook page, it probably wasn't out there a couple hours, maybe a couple hours. And Dr. Joseph had already signed up. It was done. It was that quick. Boom. Money in hand, package bought, tables bought, sponsors bought, football team. We're ready to go, ready to rock and roll. So Dr. Joseph, you, your family, we certainly appreciate that. Thank you very much. And then our other platinum sponsor, Mr. Doug McKay, when we started this committee last year, we didn't have any money. We were broke. We had $0, no income, nothing to do anything with. And we put it out there, and I got a call from Doug, and or an email, and all he said was, "How can I help?" He goes, "I'm living in Kansas City. My wife and I, kids, we're up in Kansas City now, but Heights was a special place to me. Friends and family are still in Wichita." And that was all I asked. "How can I help?" I said, "We could use some money. That always helps out." And he was there. Doug has a company called Falcon Logistics. They're the sponsor for this Red and Black Banquet for the next 5 years at least, probably forever. If you have any shipping or trucking needs, Doug's your guy, whether it's in Kansas City, Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, anywhere in the nation, Canada. The pens are on your tables. Look up the number. If you need something shipped, Doug's your guy. So he was the very first guy to step up. No questions asked. And Doug, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Okay, now I'm finally done. The only last thing I'll say is, if anybody wants to help, if you want to be on the committee, don't come up to me and say, "Hey, I really want to be on committee," because we're all going to say that. Send me an email, send me a text message, we'll find you. And if you ask to be on the committee and you want to help, you're going to be used. Because this thing's, we'll shoot for 200 people and 15 inductees next year if we can. So maybe it'll get too big and we'll have to move it to a different venue. So thank you very much. I'm going to now hand it over to the guy who started this, the principal of Wichita Heights High School, Mr. Eric Filippi.
Thank you, Mr. Jabara. So I too would like to personally thank the Hall of Fame committee. I'd like to thank Heights High School's culinary application students. They were serving this evening with their teacher, Miss Jennifer Cabral, and through that program, they get their industry standard food license certification. I would like to thank Mr. Sam Alsamy, who is our journalism teacher that has taken photographs this evening. He has the rest of his crew in the cafeteria right now because we have homecoming tonight. And so they are setting up for everything there. I'd like to thank Mr. Matt Kelly, the man behind the camera, and he is our digital media design production teacher. And this whole thing will be posted on the Wichita Heights Media YouTube page. So we will have all of that put together in a nice little package. So there'll be a little bit of a link, click, and then you can watch the whole thing and have that saved forever. I'd like to thank Ms. Brenda Cly, who is our Booster Club president, and she is here somewhere, I believe. Ms. Brenda Cly, our Booster Club president, thank you very much for everything you have done. Thank you for coming in early today and also helping set this up. Truly appreciate that. So 2 weeks ago, the class of 1972 was having their 50th anniversary or 50th reunion, and we had a little event in Old Town that they invited me to attend. So I got to go and meet some of the individuals there. Then we came back in the morning for some building tours, and we were touring around the school. It was absolutely fantastic, and we're walking down Main Hall, and there's a restroom that we call the Beauty Bar, and we call it the Beauty Bar because in the morning time, any time during the morning before school, everybody's in there doing their hair, doing all their, hanging out. And I bring that up because it's one of my biggest frustrations in the morning is that we have kids hanging out in the Beauty Bar, and I just want them out. I want them in class. Let's go. And man, it must have been better, because I never did that when I was in school. And So we're walking down the hallway, we're heading to the new wing, and there was two ladies from the class of 1972 that started giggling. And I go up to ask them, all right, what are you two ladies doing? What are you conniving over here? And then they told me that in 1972, that was the bathroom. One of the ladies asked the other one, do you want a cigarette? Because that was the bathroom that they would go to smoke a cigarette, and that her job was to stand outside the door, and as soon as an assistant principal came, knock on it to warn them that they were coming. I was like, you know what? Things have not changed. Oh my goodness. And so another fun conversation, because this is very, very surreal to me, but being able to having the opportunity to talk to Mr. Valentine on the phone, and one of the questions that he had said was, why now? And which was a great, great question. And honestly, when I got here 3 years ago, or this is my third year as principal, I was wondering, why don't we have a Hall of Fame? And I'm thinking about all the names that I saw on the wall, and when I was in school, and how we have industry leaders, we have athletes. There are so many great, amazing things and people that have walked through these hallways. How are we not celebrating? And so he asked why now, and it was, and then it was, hey man, he's probably busy. You need to shut up and let's go. Say, all right, I'm sorry. But I'm very, very blessed to have had the opportunity to speak with you, and I'm very, very thankful that you were able to make it back to Wichita for this. To Darren Dreifert, I went to school with him. He's my sister's age. I was a couple years younger, but everything that they said about his family is absolutely true. Dr. Dreifert was a professor of mine at Wichita State and really helped give me a thought process and frame my decisions as a professional, and I truly appreciate him for that. Pelfrey, you're absolutely right. These coaches are making people better, not just better players, but better men. And not having had the opportunity to play for Coach Auer, because I'm not much of a basketball player or a baseball player, but he was my government teacher. Well, I'll get to that in a second. But I have several coaches out here in the audience right now that were here when I was, and I'm absolutely a better man because of them. And they were my male role models growing up, and I truly appreciate and love you guys as well. The 1968 wrestling team, it was a surprise to me to see Mr. Wardell Bell, and I'm not going to cry. However, you are so getting hugged as soon as this is over. I did not know you were here. Mr. Bell was my administrative I don't want to say hero because that would be weird, but when I first got into education and decided I wanted to be an administrator, he was an administrator at Wichita North High School, where I've taught first. And one of the reasons I became an administrator, and you are getting hugged, his brother was my art teacher at Brooks, and I'm neighbors with his other brother, G. So at any rate, you're getting hugged. It's happening. Perry Ellis 4.0, gentlemen back there in the back. We have a lot of great young adults in this building, academics first, and it's going to be really neat. I'm really excited about this season coming up pretty soon. And Coach Auer, truly appreciate everything you've done. When he talks about classroom and students and academics, he's not kidding. That is not a joke. If your grades aren't right, he doesn't care who you are. You will be sitting on the bench if you get to suit up at all. And with the absolutely, go ahead. Let's give that a round of applause for sure. As Coach Norwood, would say, just as far as being a better man, a better person, there's not a reason, or there is a reason why I became a social studies teacher, and I got two of my history teachers sitting in the room right now. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. Coach or Miss Rito Joseph, I got to be honest with you. I am so enamored to actually finally meet you, because as far as our female athletes and the names on the wall, this is a huge one for me. So you're probably going to get a hug too. So don't make that weird. But I absolutely appreciate you being able to make it in town for this honor, and it's an honor for us that you're here. part of that class of 1972, and I'm going to get through this, guys. I swear, I promise. But Charles Lawson, I never had the opportunity to meet Charles Lawson, though I do have a couple of his vinyl records. That's what we listened to when we started the ceremony. We found out, I found out that they used to record their music and their songs, but they put it on vinyl. How cool is that? It gave me an opportunity to buy a record player, and so we do have the vinyl over there. And so when that was played, that was actually Mr. Lostrom and Mr. Holstrom. That was them leading and directing that music. That was them. And if any of you were in band or in choir in 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, you're on those records right now, and that we listened to you a little while ago. So that's always really cool. And then Mr. Judd, I actually started telling his daughter, I was in his class for just a little bit of time. Not because of his class, but I may or may not have gotten kicked out of my Algebra 2 class. And so when I had to get that fixed, it switched my schedule around, so I got pulled out of Judd's class, and that may or may not have happened. So I'm glad that we didn't have social media then. So it's really awesome. I'm super excited that you were able to make it. Also, Sarah is a 1988 graduate from Wichita Heights High School. So another one of our alum. And then Miss Chanel Jones OJ, besides watching you on TV, which is kind of cool, trying not to fanboy out here, but we have something in common, and that's Mark Christian. And Mark Christian was my principal when I was here. Absolutely. Mr. Christian still comes around. He's going to help us get our Bible club off the ground again. After the COVID shutdown, a lot of things stopped and we couldn't get together. And so we're starting to open up a lot of these things and being able to gather. And we will be doing that again soon. We'll be getting that going, and Mr. Christian's going to be helping with that. So with that, a couple of things. For our honorees, please feel free to take your board with you. And then we are going to be exiting over here because we would like to get a picture of all of our new Hall of Famers in the whatever that area is called over there. Foyer, thank you. We'll head over to the foyer, and we'd love to get a picture of everybody. And then we also have, the auctions have ended, the silent auctions have ended. We appreciate that. Do we have a winner? And then I'm gonna have Coach Heckman, who was a PE teacher when I was here as well. So hold on one moment.
All right, so thank you. Thanks all the inductees tonight. Always inspiring talks and listens. So Coach Norwood, I've heard all about him last year, and you just you cemented all that back in my head again. So so if you're here and you won the silent auction, you can stop by and see me afterwards. So the golf goes to Mike Pelfrey. Oil changes to the Ace of Betos. The WSU basketball tickets and swag bag goes to Susan Jabara. And the toppings with the Heights Culinary. And then to make things fair and honest, Mr. Titus drew the Patrick Mahomes ticket. And I don't know if this person is here or not. Heidi Ogden? Oh, she's not here. Holy smokes. Heidi Ogden wins the Patrick Mahomes football. So,
which the Patrick Mahomes autographed football was donated to us from Evan Kraft, who is a athletic trainer for the Kansas City Chiefs and a Heights graduate, and he donated that from One Arrowhead Drive. It's pretty cool. So. Other than that, I was just going to go ahead and say, please, if the honorees, we could go ahead and get you out into the foyer so we can get your picture. Guys, thank you so much for being here to celebrate this with us. Have a fantastic evening. I'm going to go to a dance.